Hi there, I'm Alan Stradham, and I'd like to welcome you to this first video on your journey to getting clear in your coaching business. If you have completed your HeartMath Coach Mentor training or the Building Personal Resilience program, you will no doubt be familiar with the Building Personal Resilience Guidebook. This guidebook is designed as an aid to help you teach someone else, presumably your clients, HeartMath, and that's where many coaches and mentors get stuck. You see, this guidebook is based on a teaching model for HeartMath, not a coaching or mentoring model. The problem that you might be experiencing is that you have to sell the concept of HeartMath first to someone else, your potential client. Selling the concept means having to explain why the other person needs it, and immediately you've entered into a sales relationship with a customer, not a client. Simply put, a client is someone who wants professional support or a service from someone else, whereas a customer refers to a person who purchases products or services from someone else. If you're selling the Building Personal Resilience program to a customer and you teach them the techniques while taking them through the program, then what do you do when you're done? They've completed the guidebook, they've purchased the product, they've learned everything. Now what? You'll either try to figure out what else you could teach them, and for many coaches, this means doing more training and getting more certification, or you'll start looking for the next person to teach, which is time consuming, exhausting, and simply disheartening. But if you're providing a service to a client based on their needs, then you can grow your service and retain your client. Clients commit to a longer business relationship, which may or may not end after the first purchase. As coaches and mentors, we want clients, not customers. Can you feel the difference between these two approaches? This is also why many new coaches ask the questions, how do I talk about HeartMath? What do I say? Do I focus on the features or the benefits? What is my elevator speech about HeartMath? What can I put into a slide deck presentation that explains what HeartMath is and what I do? I could use the science to convince someone they need this, but where do I start? As you're no doubt starting to see, these are all the wrong questions to ask, based on selling a product or service to a customer and not selling to a client. What we want to do is get clear about who we serve. In other words, who your ideal client or specific audience is, and the top of mind problem that you help them solve. Once we're clear about these two things, the rest becomes a lot easier. It's easier to speak about what you do and who you do it for. Let's give it a test right now. If you stopped me in the street and said, Alan, what do you do? And I answered, I teach people how to build their personal resilience. How does that feel for you? What happens for you? Or if I said, I'm a HeartMath coach. If you weren't someone who was HeartMath trained or knew anything about HeartMath or resilience, where does that leave you? If you didn't know anything about resilience, you might show some interest, but you haven't made the connection yet that you need it. If you don't know anything about HeartMath, the next question has to be, what is HeartMath? And I'd be stuck with having to try and explain it. But if instead I answered saying that I help single mothers struggling to raise their kids while working a 9-to-5 job by helping them stay connected to their children as they pursue their career, what happens then? How does that feel for you? Or how about I help struggling HeartMath coaches who want to get clear with their marketing strategy so that they can build a successful and sustainable coaching business that continuously inspires, motivates, and fulfills them. In both examples, you should be left with a clear answer of what it is that I do. I help single mothers, or I help struggling HeartMath coaches. You're either someone who now resonates with what I do, or you're not. And if you're not, you're probably wondering if you know any single mothers or HeartMath coaches who could use my services. This is far more effective. Let's take it up a notch. How would knowing these two things help your marketing efforts to bring in new clients? Well, did you know that a very small percentage of people out there are actively looking for a solution to their problem? Research has suggested it's as little as 3%. These are the people that wake up in the morning, jump onto Google or Facebook, or on the phone with their friends, and are ready to take action on the solution they find if they think it will solve their problem. These are people who, like you and me, by the way. You had a problem to solve, which led you to your HeartMath training, after which you now have a new problem to solve, which has led you to me. When you found out that I offered a solution to your problem, you took action to be here and be a part of this program that I offer. There aren't many of us taking this kind of action. Furthermore, if I hadn't been clear about what I do and who I do it for, you would have gone somewhere else. You see, for many people in the service industry, they're not as clear about the service they provide as they could be, and so are actually competing for that 3% looking for a solution. They're back in the commodities market, trying to get customers. These are the people who are very active on social media all the time, spending a lot of energy on ways to stand out from the crowd, and even dropping their prices as a way to compete with other coaches. The values market compared to the commodities market is very different. When someone comes to realize the value that you offer, price is no longer an issue. When you show the value you bring, clients respond because they know that you are what they need and want. I have a friend who has recently made this shift from the commodities market to the values market in the business that he's in. And he proudly told me how he had responded when someone said to him, "I know people who charge less." He simply replied, "And I know people who pay more." He's not a coach, by the way, but this is a wonderful illustration of the difference between commodities and values. So 3% are actively looking for and are ready to take action. What about the rest? Well, according to the research, 30% are never going to take action. They're simply not interested in change for whatever reason. We simply bless them and let them go. Which leaves us with a huge chunk of 67%. This 67% is divided into 7% who are open to change. They're on the cusp, and if we made it easy for them, they'll try out our services. Another 30% are aware for the future, but not ready to take action just yet. They know that something will have to change, but they're putting it off until the last minute for whatever reason. And then the final 30% are what we call unconscious. Either they don't realize that they have a problem, or they don't know that someone like you is out there who can help them what they've learned to live with, thinking it's normal. Let's give you a quick example of all of these. I live in Thailand. When I arrived here, I rented a scooter like most tourists do, and my girlfriend at the time and I would ride around on our scooter. You could think of this as being part of the unconscious 30%. At this stage, I'm just doing what I need to get around, and not even thinking there might be another option. The longer we stayed, the more expensive it became renting a scooter from month to month. When I eventually did the calculations, I realized that it would have been cheaper buying a second-hand scooter up front. So I was now in the market for buying a scooter. I quickly shifted into the 3% actively looking for and ready to take action on any deals that I found. I found a scooter which suited my needs, or at least I thought it did. I returned the rental and bought the second-hand scooter. It wasn't a great scooter, and occasionally I'd have problems starting it. I was now in the 7% who were open. If something better came my way, I'd sell my scooter and buy the better one. Now, before I continue, I'm not suggesting that people move into these categories as they progress. I'm merely giving you an example of what happens in each category and why they are named as they are. So getting back to the examples. Being part of the 30% who are aware for the future means that I knew that at some point my girlfriend would also want her own scooter. So while it wasn't an immediate priority, if something came my way that made sense, I'd seriously consider buying her own scooter. What would have made all of this easier for me was if someone had told me from the start how easy it is to buy my own scooter in Thailand and how easy it is to sell again when the time comes. I would have done so without thinking twice. I had simply done what everyone else was doing and had made an unconscious assumption that it was an easier route to take, when in fact it wasn't. And now I'm looking for a bigger bike, but not just any bike. I'm looking for a Royal Enfield or something similar. I'm looking for a specific bike based on perceived value. I've moved from the scooter commodities market to a values market. So can you see how all of this works? We do it all the time, every day, but we don't always utilize these principles when it comes to selling our own services. And this is where effective education-based marketing comes in. Education-based marketing is a way to inform our potential clients, those 3% plus 67%, that we can help them solve their top-of-mind problem. It moves us from a commodities market into a values market. And this is another reason why we need to be clear about who we serve, as well as the problem we solve. Getting clear drives our marketing efforts to be more effective. Education-based marketing is everywhere, but not all forms of education-based marketing is effective. For it to be effective, it needs two elements. Number one, it must provide value. And number two, it must position the purchase. It's in positioning the purchase that a lot of education-based marketing falls apart. It gives value and then stops there. How many times have you yourself downloaded an awesome free report and got tons of value, or watched a webinar which was uplifting and inspiring, and then never took further action on either? You never took action because the purchase wasn't positioned properly. What do I mean by this? Purchasing decisions are based on certain criteria. My initial purchasing decision for buying a scooter was based on saving money. In other words, cost or price. Had someone stopped me and said that those particular scooters often give engine trouble, my purchasing decision would be different. I would be thinking more about ease and convenience versus the price. Had someone said to me that smaller scooters are more dangerous because they don't handle as well, my purchasing decision would have been my concern for safety. In every case, my purchasing decision is based on the information I'm receiving, which is influencing that final decision. This is the way effective education-based marketing works. So let's now bring it back to the teaching, building personal resilience model versus the coaching model. If your focus is on teaching HeartMath, you could possibly get clients from that small 3% who recognize that HeartMath is the solution that they're looking for. They've already done the homework and they'll be looking for you or any other person who offers HeartMath. You'll also have to work harder to get the attention of that 67% because you're offering a solution to a problem that they're not ready to take action on yet. You will have to find a way to explain to them why HeartMath will help them, secretly knowing that they're not ready to be helped yet. What we rather want to do as coaches who are trained in HeartMath is to create an effective education-based marketing strategy that captures the attention of our ideal clients in that 70% and move them into a service relationship with us, thus becoming long-term clients who actually want transformation by being able to solve their top-of-mind problem. So this brings us to the end of the first video. There's no homework today, but you're welcome to write down any insights you gain from this short introduction. In the next video, we start by getting clear on who your ideal client is and who your specific audience is. Until then, stay coherent.